Hey y'all, today we're making more flavored milk powders. Okay, so the first one is something that a lot of y'all requested when I did the strawberry and chocolate milk powder video. So we are doing banana first, as you can see. So what you're going to need to do is have some banana powder. So I'm going to make my own banana powder by dehydrating these bananas. So I'm going to show you how I dehydrate them, or if you can find like already powdered, like dehydrated banana, then you can just buy yours. But it's very, very simple to dehydrate. You see how thin I'm slicing those? Now, you want to get them kind of thin because they just dehydrate quicker that way. But there's no exact, measurements that you need or anything. You just need to get them sliced up, and then we're going to treat them a little bit so they don't turn brown, because you know how bananas are. You know how they are. When they get, apples are the same way. Apples or bananas sit out, they start turning that weird yucky brown color. And when you dehydrate them, the same thing is going to happen if you don't do something to prevent it. So we're going to do that. You absolutely don't have to if you don't mind the bananas changing color. It's not going to hurt them. It just changes the color. That's all it is. So visually, I didn't want brown banana powder, so here we are. So what I'm using is some lemon juice, a bottle of lemon juice, because I did not have any lemons on hand. If you want to squeeze fresh lemons for this, then you absolutely can if you want to. And no, this does not make the banana taste like lemon. So I've got my dehydrator trays lined with some of the little mesh cutouts that I use. I will try to make sure that I link anything I can down below for y'all that I use in the video. I always try to do that. So once you dip your bananas into the lemon juice, then you're just going to put those onto your dehydrator tray. Just, give them a little, they don't have to have a lot of space, but don't overlap them, okay? And then we're going to dehydrate these at about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And I almost always, when I'm dehydrating something, I almost always do it like in the afternoon and then let it go all night, because that way I can ensure that they are completely dehydrated when I'm ready to use them, because sometimes they do take a while. And I'm not, I didn't slice this with a slicer that made them all the same thickness, so I had to make sure that all of them were completely dehydrated. So once they're all completely dehydrated, they should be able, and I'll show you in just a minute, they should be able to, you can pick them up and just snap them in half, okay? If they're still bendy, you need to dehydrate them longer because they're not ready. So once you get them completely dehydrated, you're just going to peel them off of your little mesh liner. And I always put everything on a parchment-lined cookie sheet, and then I let it sit just on my counter until they are completely cooled down, because you don't want to try to grind up warm dehydrated stuff, because the warmth is going to hit the cold blender. I mean, in my opinion, there's a science, whatever, but for me, the way I understand it, cold blender, hot banana, it's going to, end up creating some moisture, and we don't want to do that. So anyway, once you get everything dehydrated, and see how that snapped in half right there, that's what you want them to do. And I just put them down into a jar. The amount that you make doesn't matter. Now it will matter for if you're wanting a certain amount of powder, but when I'm doing these dehydrated fruit powders, like when I did the strawberry, I just dehydrated what I wanted to, and then I ground down what I wanted to, and then I based my recipe off of how much of the fruit powder that I had. I hope that makes sense. So if you grind this down and you end up with 2 cups of banana powder, and you want to use all 2 cups of your banana powder to make a milk powder, something you can add to your milk, then you absolutely can. You'll just need to adjust like the sugar and stuff in there. So this made a quart jar of bananas, and I'm just going to show you again, just see how they just snap in half, no bending. That's what you want them to do. So that's it. You can just put these on your shelf and store them if you just want to eat banana chips. But we're not doing that. Today, we are making powder for our milk. Okay, so banana flavored milk is what we're making. And we're going to make 3 flavors in this video. So stick around, and I'm going to have the printable recipe links down in the description box for y'all. Not that there's really a lot of recipe to these, and you really can adjust it to your own taste. But just to kind of give you a guide of how I do mine, I will put something printable that y'all will have to look at. So I'm using my blender cup. I used about half of that quart jar, and I'm just going to blend this until I get it to powder. Now you want to do, y'all know Darcy tells us, you don't want to just turn the blender on. You want to pulse it a few times to kind of get the breaking down process started. And then we will go ahead and grind it down. Now what I found with the banana that was a little bit different than the other fruit that I did is it sort of clumped a little bit more, and I don't know if that's just because it took me a little longer to blend it, so it kind of heated up a little bit, but it did get a little bit more clumpy. But when I stirred it up and all the stuff, it was fine. It falls apart. It's not like it was wet sand kind of clumpy, but you can see how there's lumps and clumps in there, and I'm having to like scrape it out of the blending cup. So just know that you might have to do that. But the reason I know that this didn't have moisture in it originally is because I know they were all completely dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure if everything is completely dehydrated, then you're fine. And I always put this through a fine mesh strainer, because that way if there are any lumps or like clumps of banana that didn't grind down enough, I won't end up with chunks of banana in my banana powder. So what I'm doing now is just measuring out how much of the banana powder I have, and that way I will know how much sugar that I need to add to this to make the milk powder. Now, if you just want to grind down bananas and add that to your milk and just have straight bananas in milk powder, in your milk, you can. But in my opinion, if we're trying to get something that's kind of close to what you would get at the store if you went and bought something to mix with your milk, those mixes are pretty sweet. So that's why I add sugar to these, in case that was a question anybody had. But you can absolutely use a sugar alternative that swaps 1-to-1 for sugar if you want to. If you have like a granulated Swerve or something. I know they make powdered sugar, but you can make your own powdered sugar. So if there's a granulated sugar that you prefer, you can make a powdered sugar out of that. I do have a video on how to do that, if y'all are wanting to do something like that. So I ended up with about 3/4 of a cup of banana powder. And because bananas tend to be kind of sweet anyway, I'm only adding 1/4 cup of powdered sugar to this. And I do make my own powdered sugar also. You can also put this through a sifter if you want to, because powdered sugar does clump sometimes. It doesn't really bother me for a recipe like this, but you definitely can if you want to make it, exceptionally smooth, if that makes sense. So once I get the powdered sugar in with my banana powder, I just mix it up to combine it really well. And then I give it a little bit of a taste to see if I need to add more sugar or whatever the case is. That's why I stuck my finger in it. And don't worry, this is just for my house. And then I add just a pinch of salt. I always add just a little pinch of salt to everything just to kind of enhance the flavor. And that is it. That is how you make banana powder to make banana flavored milk. Or whatever I'm trying to say. I just slammed my clipboard on my hand. But that's all you do. It's super, super easy. And this ended up making roughly 3/4 of a cup, because the powdered sugar doesn't really take up much space when you mix it with something else. So that's a little 8-ounce jar. That's how much banana flavored powder we ended up with. So the next one that we're going to do, because I was just kind of trying to think of what some fun flavors would be. So the next one that we're going to do is vanilla. And some of y'all did ask for just a vanilla flavored. So I thought, how easy can you get? And so we're going to do a vanilla flavored. So we're using 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then we're going to use some vanilla bean powder. This stuff, if you just open this package, it smells so good, y'all. If you've never used powdered vanilla, it is delightful. I got it off of Amazon. I will link it for y'all. So what I added, I started out with 1 tablespoon of vanilla and then vanilla powder. And then once I mixed it all up real good, I tasted it and I thought it needs a little more vanilla. So I ended up adding a total of 1.5 tablespoons of the vanilla powder to this. And I did get this off of Amazon. I will also link it down below for y'all if you're looking for a vanilla powder and you can't find any in the store, you know, your local store or whatever. So that is what I ended up adding to that. And it was super delicious. And y'all, the smell, oh my gosh, it smelled so good. Now this is when I struggled. Y'all know I say this in every video almost. I can't ever decide what size jar I need. Or I never pick the right size. But I knew that this was not going to be enough to fill up a 16-ounce jar. I can't talk today. But I thought I can cram it into this 8-ounce jar. And it was a struggle. It was a struggle, y'all. Y'all see, I'm trying to bump it. Usually if you can get it in there and you kind of bump the jar a few times, it'll kind of pack it down in there and make it fit. And this one was not wanting to do it. So I ended up, like, I tried everything. I'm trying to baby it and everything. I'm like, I'm not wasting this doggone powder. It tastes too good. So anyway, I scraped a little off and then I put the lid on and then I bumped it a few times with the lid on it, and that helped pack it down a little bit more. See, you can kind of see a lip around the jar now. So then I was able to add the rest of the powder into the jar. So that is how easy that one is. And I am going to just show you how I mix these up at the end of the video. I mean, it's powdered milk, y'all. It's super, super simple. So that's it. We ended up with a very full 8-ounce jar of our vanilla powder. So the last one that we're going to do today is cinnamon sugar. Now I'm adding 1 cup of, what is that, powdered sugar to my bowl. And then I'm going to add in, I start out with, there's my pinch of salt. I did put a pinch of salt in the vanilla also, but I think I forgot to show that. I always add a little pinch of salt. So to this 1 cup of sugar, pinch of salt, we're adding 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. Now I started out with 2 tablespoons and I went back and added a 1/3 after I mixed it up and tasted it. Always mix it up, taste it, see how it tastes to you, and if you need to adjust it, you can. It's yours, you know. So if you're not sure if you're gonna like it, put just a little bit in and you can always add more to it if you want to. So I did this one because I thought a lot of people really love they say the best part of eating a bowl of cereal is the cereal milk. And I thought if I did a cinnamon sugar, it would be like drinking the milk after you had a bowl of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something. And my son said it does taste exactly like that. And then they also said that these would make excellent coffee creamers. So if you're somebody who puts sugar in your coffee and you like a flavored sugar, maybe put these together and try those in your coffee. I'm going to have to give my daughter some of these and let her try it in her coffee because y'all know I don't drink coffee, and see what she thinks about these. But these were super easy to throw together. I am going to, when you mix these up, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I mix these with milk, but I am going to probably do some flavors, in another video coming up in the next few weeks. I'm going to make some that are going to be just add water, because I've had a lot of requests to do things for like, if you have bad weather and your lights go out, hurricane season, all those kind of things, like to have things on hand that you can use quickly and you don't need to heat it and things like that. So I think I'm going to try some of these mixes that we can just add water to, but look for that coming up. All right, so to mix these up, it's exactly the same way as the other one. If you saw my other video, I pour a little bit of milk. Any kind of milk you want to drink is fine. Y'all know I don't do regular milk. I made this up and made my son taste it. But you're going to add a tablespoon. I start out with a tablespoon, and I'm using my frother because my blending cup was dirty, but ideally put this in a blender cup because it mixes the powder so much better. But yeah, that's all you have to do. Just add your tablespoon in there. If you feel like it needs more, add a little bit more. They are super delicious. So these were highly requested. So I hope that y'all enjoyed them. I hope that y'all will try these, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.